And welcome back, guys, to another episode of Let's Play Katawa Shoujo. In the last part, we decided to go into town to get some supplies, and we ran into Lily, and then subsequently we ran into Rin as well. So, unfortunately, it seems as we've climbed back up the hill, Asao is not feeling too good, and Lily has picked up on it. Probably mostly for the fact that she's holding on to him. So, and her hearing must also be up. So I wonder if she's able to hear his heart abnormality, because arrhythmia, it can be, you can hear it. Like it's pretty scary too when you actually start listening to someone's heart when it's affected by arrhythmia. If there's just something unsettling about it. It's like, I hear a heartbeat, you understand the rhythm and everything, but every once in a while there's just a little extra. So yeah, I could definitely see that she'd probably be sort of frightened by that. So we're gonna say, sorry, I'm not in very good condition. It's alright, I just need to catch my breath. My condition isn't the best these days. Oh, is it something that is related to you being transferred here? I mean, she cuts herself off rather abruptly, maybe realizing that she's being a bit intrusive. Her instincts are sharp though, and while I don't like the subject, it's not like I should lie about it. If it's Lily, I don't mind. I don't think I mind. I'm just a little weak for the time being. Natago said that you look fairly healthy, so I naturally thought... Lily doesn't finish her sentence again, letting it trail off for a measure of concern. She furrows her brow. Lily's uncomfortable expression spurs me to say at least something to ease her feelings. It's surprising she's this flustered, considering her straightforward attitude with her own blindness. She must know that not all share her own comfort about such things. No, it's okay. I have a pretty... I guess the best way to put it would be messed up heart. Arrhythmia. I had a bad heart attack a while ago because of it, and spent most of the spring in a hospital, and ended in a Miyamaku on doctor's orders. She silently nods her head in acknowledgement. My answer, though, only seems to make Lily furrow her brow even further. She doesn't seem to quite know how to react, given we don't really know each other that well. I can't really fault her for it, given I have the exact same reaction. To my surprise, in a moment's time, her face shows that she comes to some sort of realization. Wait, so the time when Emmy and you collided in the hallway... I grimace slightly. Her ability to connect the dots quite so fast is unexpected. Yeah, I guess I'm a textbook example of why those rules about running in the corridors exist. That was a lot more dry than I intended. Lily's visibly shies away from continuing the topic. Well, I do want to assure her concern. Assuage her concern. Not assure. I don't want to assure her concern. It's like, you should be fucking concerned. No. So it's assuage her concern. I really don't want to dwell on this either. Don't worry about it. I try to offer a reassuring smile, but then I realize the futility. Without knowing this, Lily smiles at me reassuringly, but doesn't say anything further. Arriving at the dorms, Rin stops in front of her mural, as if lightning struck her. She has been so quiet for almost the whole walk back that I had all but forgotten she was here. It's Friday, isn't it? Yes, Friday the 8th of June. This is bad. Bad? Why? I think I'm going to go into a fetal position and throw up, possibly in reverse order. Is something wrong? No, nothing is wrong. It's Friday, and nothing is wrong yet. This mural is going to need to be finished by Sunday, so everything's all right. Do you have any drugs? Or a time machine? This is not good, not good. She seems behind her. She's behind her schedule. Recalling Shizune's exasperation at Rin's carefree attitude several days ago, I don't know what to think. She has left herself open for a told you so unless she can pull off whatever she needs to pull off by Sunday morning. Rin keeps staring at her mural, looking as mortified as she can. Leave me. I'm going to need to work for a while. I glance at Lily, expecting her to share an incredulous look with me as I roll my eyes, but then I realize she's not one to do that kind of thing. Leave me. We do, of course, not wanting to aggravate her any more than she already is. There's a churning bad feeling in my gut. Rin sure has a knack for making people feel worried about her. She seems like a person who should never be left alone. Maybe we should call someone. She sounded like she was going into shock or something. I'm sure she'll be just fine. She's just, how do you say? Lily cocks her head a little, trying to find a polite way of calling Rin crazy without calling her crazy. You unique? Yes, a very unique person. I guess you could say that. She giggles at the notion, melodiously, nodding in agreement. Sorry about leaving you stranded as you talk to her. I don't really understand her, so I keep my distance. So my guess was right. Lily offers a slight apologetic smile as she was sorry that her own shortcomings have prevented her from being closer to Rin. I'm not one to blame her, at all. Lily lets slip a long breath, probably a disguised yawn. I imagine she is exhausted by all this as I am. I'd better leave now and give these to Hanako. Thank you for your company, Hisao. She smiles very sweetly at me. It feels different than normal, despite the fact that she seems to be smiling so often. I can't put my finger on what the difference is. It's just different. Relaxed, I'd say. But that's probably just relief over getting rid of Rin. Maybe. Yeah, good night. Say hi to Hanako for me. I will. Good night. Aww. It's like we had a little date. So the polls for Hanako and Lily are over, and you guys, 9 of you voted, which was really, really sweet. And it looks like Lily won out by one vote. So congratulations, Lily is our winner. So we are going to continue down this path. I am quite excited. So I'm sending all my guns down the path of Lily. That's where we're going with this. That's what I meant to say anyway. The students roll into the class for the Saturday morning session, each and every one of them sporting the tired eyes of people who have been worked through the night. With only a day left to prepare, I suppose it's not so surprising. Thankfully, we only have to suffer through class until the lunch break, and then our time is ours. Muto lurches into class in a tired stagger. I suppose students aren't the only people here that enjoy their late Friday nights. Without saying a word, he scrawls some page and question numbers on the board and slumps down in his desk. It's completely atypical behavior for him, but it appears that no one in class is going to call him out on it. Wordlessly, the students shuffle their textbooks into position and get to work. Not wanting to break the trend, I do the same. Fatigue has made the class antisocial. Not a peep is heard amongst the ruffling papers. That can be partly attributed to the 2 empty seats beside me. For some reason, Misha and Shizune aren't present, probably doing council work for the festival. It's very quiet without Misha present. I wonder if she was born as rowdy as she is, or if she is making up for Shizune's lack of voice. Nakai, can I speak with you for a moment? I'm so engrossed in thinking about Misha that I don't even notice Muto approaching my desk. Sure, what's this about? It's probably better that we speak outside the classroom. Something about this doesn't sound too good, but I stand up and follow him out in the hallway. Muto stands in the hallway, scratching his head as he works out what he's trying to say. Not knowing what is going on, I wait silently. So, tell me, how are things? Things? I expected Muto to be a little vague, but this is pushing the limits. You know, things. You've had a week to settle in now. How are you? How are things? Fine, I guess. I see. And how is your condition? The pause before condition seemed a little unnecessary. Haven't had any problems so far. A brief shimmer of relief passes across Muto's face. Good, that's good. School nurse was a little concerned that you might have been pushing yourself a bit too hard. He asked me to keep an eye on you when he couldn't. That makes sense. I'd ask that you don't blow us off so freely. As much as we try to give you the level of education that you would get at a normal school, you have to realize that you have limits. Our goal is to make sure that you know where those limits are and how to maximize your potential within them. Do you follow me? I guess. I mean, I don't plan on doing anything stupid. Well, that's a start, I guess. So then, on to my next question. How are you finding your studies? I understand that you were laid up for a while. We're not too far ahead, are we? I don't really think so. I tried to keep up when I was in the hospital, so it hasn't been too hard. Muto taps his chin and raises an eyebrow as he absorbs this information. Is that so? I suppose there's still students out there who realize the importance of learning. I wouldn't go that far. I was only trying to keep myself occupied in my little life support prison. Well, yeah, you've got to keep up with these things, right? That's exactly it. One wrong move in this world, and you're left behind, right? Right. Wouldn't want that to happen. No, you wouldn't. Every week, there's a new scientific discovery. Most of them mean nothing to the layperson, but any one of them could be the key to the next big thing. I'll keep that in mind. It's obvious that Muto's serious talk is over, and he's gone back to his standard, slightly scatterbrained approach to life. I think, in hindsight, that I prefer him this way. He's slightly more predictable in his unpredictability. Well then, I think it's all I really had to say. Let's get back inside, shall we? My relief at that suggestion is insurmountable. Sure, you're the boss, right? Muto pauses for a moment. I don't think any of my students have ever said that to me before. For an instant I consider replying to this, but something deep within me tells me to shut my mouth and get back into the classroom. A few of the students jump at the sound of the door, rapidly trying to pretend that they are working on the questions on the board. Some don't even bother, their heads slumped on their desk as they nap. Thankfully, it would appear that Muto does not even notice them. He returns to his desk and retrieves a scientific journal from one of the drawers. I guess I got to him there. The class returns to a near silence that Muto and I left it in before our chat. Mixed feelings of tiredness and anticipation buzz around the room. Everyone here is either waiting for a chance to rest or the chance to get their last-minute preparations underway. The clock on the wall slowly ticks the remaining class time away until finally the bells cry out, ending the torment. Before you all leave, I expect the answers for those problems by Monday. The class sighs as one, instantly regretting slacking off, but still acutely aware of the more pressing issue at hand. The classroom empties in a blink as everyone rushes to their last-minute festival preparations. I stay behind and try to quickly finish the questions so I don't have to bother with it over the rest of the weekend, with a festival and all tomorrow. Apart from me, Hanako is the only one left, obviously waiting for Lily. It's weird that Lily comes all the way to our classroom to pick her up. I expect that moving around is at least nominally harder for her than it is for Hanako. But it's none of my business, and I naturally don't ask about it from Hanako. Despite the relative proximity of our seats, neither try to strike up a conversation about that or anything else either, so an oppressive silence falls upon the classroom. Time passes in silence. It's probably just 15 minutes or so, but it feels longer. I turn pages of my notebook. Hanako turns pages of the novel she's reading. My pencil lead splinters against the paper, just when I was about to finish a paragraph. The sound of my irritated sigh and subsequent fumbling around for a sharpener feels like they're breaking the mood in the classroom. Hanako keeps her eyes firmly away from my direction. Before long, Lily's tall figure appears in the doorway. Hanako? Her name is all it takes to make Hanako jump up from her desk and run to Lily. They talk quietly for a moment, but it isn't long before Lily leaves down the hall and Hanako idles back into the classroom, taking her seat once again. I watch Hanako out of the corner of my eye out of sheer curiosity at the idea that the two would be separated. For a couple of minutes she does nothing but sit there, her chin in her hand, staring at the desk dejectedly. The boredom evidently becomes too much for her, though. Her slender flame reaching into her bag and pulling out a small book. Come to think of it, that isn't the only one I saw her reading at the library. She must be quite a fast reader to get through them at this rate. But why would Lily leave her to her own devices? It seems to be quite out of the ordinary, going by Hanako's reaction. That's right. I think Lily mentioned something about going into town today before Rin bumped into us. The thought of that walk makes me look outside. The bright sun and occasional people wandering around and enjoying the afternoon makes me yearn to get out of school, or at least do something other than sit here. Given in to one of my worst vices, procrastination. I know about that. Yeah, I'm having some difficulty right now, working up the motivation to edit one of my internet parodies. I don't want to get too much into it because obviously this is a Let's Play about Katawa Shoujo, but I don't know. I know it's a part of procrastination, but I'm also very, very fearful about the fact that I can't do it justice. That my editing skill is so far gone now that I look at other series and other things and I'm just not up to the snuff. I don't feel that my writing isn't good. I feel like the jokes are really, really good. I feel like I'm studying and doing my way of plot and everything like that. But the editing, it's just a slog. It's not fun. And that's, I think, the sad thing about it is I feel like I need to do more when I probably don't. So it's like a form of procrastination. Let's take a swig of water here and let's continue, though. Enough of that dreariness. I decided that history is a subject best studied on a Sunday, or a Monday, or on any other day than this one. I give a grunt as I lever myself out of my seat, briefly debating with myself whether or not to hang out with Kenji. No! Abort! No! That is not the path we are choosing! Abort! It doesn't strike me as the enjoying the nice weather outside with others kind of person. Really? I guess I'll catch up with him later. Changing tack, I briefly entertain the idea of talking with Hanako, but by the time I look at her seat, it's vacant. She must have left for the library. Alright, so there's gotta be something to do that can kill the time. Walk into town. Go to the library. Now, if we went to the library, I'm sure this is the choice where we either go down Hanako's path or we go down Lily's. And like I said, you guys voted for the Lily path, so let's do it. Let's walk into town. Following Hanako to the library seems a bit intrusive. There was a reason she left the classroom, after all. And that aside, I do want to catch up with Lily. At the very least, I'd like to thank her for looking out for me despite her other obviously taxing duties. I guess I'll walk around town. With any luck, I should be able to find Lily. The exercise will do me some good as well. Walking through the school courtyard to the gate, I give a small nod to a couple of passing classmates, the gesture being returned in kind. Even from here, the shouts of the sports club members can be heard from the sheer volume of the dean. Oh no, it's the din. Bleh. The track must be packed right now. I remember what Lily said yesterday about being dropped right in the middle of a busy time for the school. While I'm trying to get my bearings and catch up on my studies that I've missed, everyone else is doing normal school activities. The feeling of being a foreigner still hasn't dissipated. At least, not yet. Well, I guess not everything's bad. This is a private school, and that much is easily noticed when walking around outside. Not only are the school grounds huge, but the buildings themselves are immaculate and quite divorced from the dime a dozen concrete blocks of public schools. There's also the fact that there is much stronger feeling of community here, or at least a friendlier atmosphere. At my old school, it was generally accepted that people would keep to their own little cliques and be done with it. Eventually, I reach the gate and begin to walk down the road into town. Well, that was fairly productive. Having seen a fair portion of town, even including the houses perched on the hills around the outskirts, I decided to take a walk around the park before heading back. Living in the city all my life, the total lack of smartly dressed businessmen and fashionably dressed girls strike me as incredibly unusual. All that's to be seen are the odd elderly person. All that's to be seen. There we go. Yeah. All that's to be seen are the odd elderly people or person shuffling along the sidewalk, an assorted, busy, chatting pair of middle-aged women outside a small storefront. Walking along the road to the park quickly distracts me from them, though, making me realize that I perhaps pushed myself further than I should have done to see as much as I could. As my breath begins to wheeze and my chest tightens more and more, I give up on the prospect of soldiering on. After a quick glance around the park as I enter, I take a seat on a wobbly old bench that I notice near a couple of vending machines. For minutes on end, I sit with my head bent over, forcing myself to take deep breaths. I feel more like an old man than a teenager who should be in the prime of his life. The stay in hospital, the surgery, and the medications must be taking their toll on me. Damn it. Eventually, my breathing returns to normal and the muscles in my chest loosen, not without a fair measure of relief. I guess this means the end of my little sojourn, though. In any case, there's a cafe on the far corner, so I'll stop by to quench my thirst before heading back. A little bell above the door signals my arrival to an empty counter. For a few moments I stand there waiting, my eyes every now and again drifting from one end of the counter to the other, searching for a service bell. Eventually a door some way behind the counter opens, the person emerging it taking me a bit by complete surprise. Yuko? Hi, I had no idea you worked here. Oh, in this timeline I didn't go to the... Didn't I go to the cafeteria? Maybe I didn't go with Shizune and, No, I didn't go into town. Right, because I chose to talk to Hanako instead. Yeah, that was the choice that made us go into town. So yeah, I haven't met her here yet. Interesting. I love how stories like loop around and we learn more about characters. Even with different choices and events, they still sort of loop around. I've always liked that type of stuff. But we'll continue this conversation with Yuko tomorrow. So take care, guys, and stay frosty.